Just just popped
There
up.
you go.
You got it?
Yep.
Oh, cool. Mm.
All right. Working on stuff. Yeah, but yeah, I'm 8:59. Thank you, Kathy.
Lights on over here?
Yep, all of them. All right. I think I got it out to like 250 people groups.
Oh, cool. All right, I'm going to mute
Talk to you
myself.
after. Yep. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. This is Joe Scarice, your nationwide direct private lender, co-founder and co-host of the Creative Bird Strategy podcast and Clubhouse room here on Clubhouse. So we'll get started here in just a few minutes. I want to wish everybody a happy Easter, a blessed Sunday, a great day to just relax with family and friends, and hopefully it'll be a joyous Sunday morning for yourself. We'll get some peeps invited here into Clubhouse as we speak. So, what a busy week, which we will go over real quick, and I'll give you an update of my thoughts to where a lot of the people I feel are going with investment financing and thoughts of investing. And our subject today, I feel like really applies to a lot of what we're going to be, what I talked about a lot this past week with a lot of different real estate investors throughout the region, and really excited about this week as well. So let me plug in people, let me invite people in. Please go ahead and invite people in yourself. That'd be great if you can. Let me get some people invited up here. We're going to get started here in just a few minutes. So this week, what a week. Started off in Philadelphia with the Elite Deal Makers Group. And I want to thank one of our sponsors, which is Elite Deal Makers. We'll also I'll backtrack. Let's thank our sponsors, Perkatech, Mr. Yerdal Perkins, of our social media strategist, just all around great social media strategist, administrator to what we're doing here and what our agenda is in getting in front of a lot of people. I want to thank Elite Deal Makers, where I am a meetup leader for their groups here in New Jersey and Pennsylvania, soon to be Delaware and Connecticut. I'd like to thank Miss Linda Pelagas of Realty 4-in-1. She provides a national publication as well as national events throughout the country for real estate professionals. I'd like to thank Lenmark Capital, where I'm a senior loan analyst providing education and insight on asset-based lending, non-QM lending, providing CE courses and workshops for real estate professionals throughout the country. I'd like to thank MB Capital Solutions as well, providing unsecured business lines of credit for real estate professionals nationwide. And then finally, TCS Property Management, where I am a licensed agent, referral agent for their many locations and providing property management services throughout the East Coast as well. So this past week, I was at Philadelphia. We had another great event in Jersey City. Then we got into Wednesday. we did something. I think I did something a little more local on Wednesday, but then we got into Thursday when I was up in Connecticut. What a great, I mean, there's some really great investor group meetings up in the Connecticut market, very engaging. Really enjoyed a lot of the real estate professionals I met. And we led into providing a CE course for a real estate office in Roselle Park, New Jersey, Floorstone Realty. We had a great time, about 15 of us discussing asset-based lending, getting people the agents just wanted to get education and understanding non-QM lending, which was so much fun. And then it led into the NYC RIA meetup, which really capped off the rest. I did a presentation for close to 150 sub two community individuals that came through Pace Morby and just other people that came founding the event through Bigger Pockets. And we went into asset-based lending, we went into underwriting, we went into understanding the differences between hard money and asset-based lending and regulated banking, Fannie Freddie. It was very engaging. I think I started the presentation at 2. I went right till 4 o'clock. 2 hours of just engaging questions and follow-ups and just the excitement in the room. The eyes were wide open. Not a lot, really no distractions. People were just staying engaged with the subject matter. A lot of fun. Really appreciate Chris, Carson, and Miles allowing me to provide this educational workshop to their attendees and trusting me with that. That was very. They take that event very personal because they don't want to feel like they're being predatory toward their attendees, which I find extremely integrous. I want to thank them again. Really great guys. If you ever can get to their event, which is once a month, NYC Meetup REI. These are a great group of guys. They hold it at the Compass corporate office at 110 Fifth Avenue. And just the excitement. Like I met a bunch of the investors in the morning for breakfast. Everybody was just having a great time. I usually go to this place down in the village called La Lanterna. It's been there forever. Third generation owner, and had breakfast and coffee with everybody around 10 o'clock. Got our juices flowing, and then we got over to the event. I sponsored some pizzas, and by 1 o'clock, the place was packed. And I want to thank them again for that. This week, I have a cigar event down in Philadelphia at Capelli Brothers. Anybody want to come by and cut a cigar and have some snacks and discuss real estate? That's tomorrow night. I'll be in New York, Pennsylvania on Tuesday night with the York RIA. I will also be in Pittsburgh on Wednesday nights for a group outside of Pittsburgh in Elizabeth, PA, run by a young lady named Brittany, who's part of the Sub 2 community. Looking forward to that discussion. Flying back on Thursday. I will be probably in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, for a colleague that's having an event. Then on the 26th of next Saturday, we are having another underwriting course. Justin, we're going to have it at Capelli Brothers in Midtown Village. If you need any questions, just reach out to me on that for the cigar event. But Saturday in Haddonfield, New Jersey, we're going to have another deep dive into asset-based lending, underwriting, strategy discussions, pricing loans out, becoming that broker, white labeling your product, which is going to be a lot of fun. And then we're just about at May, but we have a bunch of other events. We're going to have a mentoring dinner deals and masterminding with Joe Martella on the 28th. Really, that's going to be a lot of fun with him and Marcus Williams. So that's in Haddonfield as well at the Tap Room. If you're in the South Jersey or Philadelphia market, please come by. Probably get about 25 real estate investors networking and collaborating. And so that's pretty much a good week there. Let's talk about the market a little bit. So please, for the love of God, do not follow the media because I wouldn't trust them with a bag of salt right now. Rates are actually very good. They leveled off at around 6.87. The world is not, the sky is not falling. It's actually doing quite well. The economy here, what's going on with the stimulation of what they're doing with the government policies is actually working on the market. The market likes it. They're reacting very well to it. This tariff pushback against these countries that have been taking advantage of us, of our strength as a country as a whole, is now working back in our favor. Our rates leveled off around 6.87. Rates in the commercial space quite relevant. Almost near identical on the 30-year. Construction money came down a little bit. I'm down to my base rate on construction money starts at 9.5 now, so that's staying pretty strong. Nobody's paying attention to Fed Chair Powell. It looks like he could talk all he wants, but it seems like nobody's. There's a lot of uh, punching between Powell and Trump, but I don't think Powell's got any strength behind it right now. Jobless claims came down based about an original estimate around estimate was about 225,000. Jobless claims were down to 215. I really am seeing builder confidence leveling off, indicating a slower start for spring housing season. But what I'm also seeing is a lot of the investors coming off the sidelines, knowing that the spring market is kind of stagnant for the home buying space, which is okay. Because I mean, listen, maybe a lot of home buyers want to take a minute and see how this economy shakes out over the next 24 months. And I would do the same thing too if I was in that position. Um, I think the next 24 months will tell us where we are. I think by 2026, we'll see the actual impact to everything that's going on with the new government policies that are being put in place. So we'll see how things go there. Some other articles that caught my eye. How tariffs are affecting American home ownership. I did post a article on that as well. I will put a survey on that as well on my LinkedIn. So I usually post that. That was something a really interesting read. I'll repost it today on all my social media channels, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. So if you're following me or connecting with me at one of those sources, we'll get you some interesting information on there. Let's see here. And then renters brace for tariff impact. I really don't. I think the rental environment is leveling. I think Section 8 is actually more of a necessity now in a lot of these mid-sized markets, along with market rents. I think affordable housing is really more the important place. And I think you're going to see a separation of the B plus or B class to the CC minus markets, even severing even more so even in the urban settings in a lot of these cities. You're seeing these new institutional build outs and comparatively to the single family row. And I think the single family row is attracting more affordable housing where the B plus neighborhoods are really the newer institutional apartment buildings that are being put up in a lot of these urban settings. So the concern I have with those is who's filling the mixed use space in these urban settings. Just a lot of retail space, not a lot getting filled. So I'd like to see how they're debt servicing these buildings without the mixed use space consistently occupied. That would be a really big concern for me in cities like Philadelphia, New York, and Chicago. Then we can go smaller markets. We can go Kansas City, Rochester, Boston. I mean, like, how is that retail working out in those urban settings? I know they're doing quite well in the downtown communities outside of these cities, but I'm still seeing a lot of emptiness in the mixed use space. So it definitely does concern me a little bit. So our discussion today, and I always try to find something that kind of touches somebody, like in what they're doing, and I put this into like three different perspectives. Building a thriving online real estate investor business, and what is that strategy? And it's a mix of smart strategy, solid branding and automation, and relentless value creation. I'm going to break down some of the effective strategies to build and scale this type of business. If anybody like to raise their hand and provide some insight or questions, of course, please feel free to do that. I try to invite some of you guys to come up as well. Choosing your niche strategy before diving in, clarify what type of investor you are, right? This is if you're a real estate investor. And if you're a real estate agent, choose that niche. Like, are you going to choose an area and a footprint? How far can you go in your fishnet as a real estate agent, right? You can't cover the whole state traditionally, but you can focus in maybe a county or surrounding counties. But as a real estate investor, are you going to be a wholesaler, flipping contracts, buying and holding, rentals, long-term investments, fix and flipping? You got to be concerned about the cost of goods, and is there a margin there to sustain getting it on the market in a timely manner and getting it in front of somebody that might want to buy it. The BRRRR strategy. I just put a great article up on the BRRRR strategy yesterday. Take a look at that. I don't think that's gone away. Then there's short-term rentals, which I'm seeing more of that coming to the front line. I'm seeing a lot of that in vacationary areas more than ever now. I probably have a half a dozen STR loans in the pipeline, primarily in the central PA market, actually, surprising enough. And then one down in South Jersey that they were trying to flip it and it didn't work out. And then there's commercial real estate. And then obviously building a powerful online presence. Like, where are you? Do you have a website? Do you have, your presence? It's not all about Facebook, guys. Is there a consistent platform across the board? Are you on TikTok? Are you on Instagram? Are you on Blue Sky? Are you on X? Are you on Facebook? Are you on LinkedIn? Do you have a Google business profile? Are you posting through your Google business profile? And what's your website doing? We're going through a Google Word campaign and plugins to my website, and I'm staying very aggressive to that. It's a 6-month plan. We're laying a lot of tracks out. Hopefully, it'll pan itself out. That's both for just my Joseph V. Cerise website as well as the Creative Birth Strategy podcast website. And you have to have. I mean, if you can't afford the website, at least have a good, solid Google business profile to be found. You want to be accessible. When somebody tells me they can't find my contact number, I find it quite silly, right? Then you have your social media that you need to really also focus on. Again, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook groups. Like, this was posted out to at least 250 Facebook groups this morning, maybe more. We're getting about 4,000 views a week just through Facebook and YouTube. I don't know. We're going to evaluate the conversion rate into downloads on the podcast itself, but I'm seeing an uptick in the online presence of the podcast. Focusing it, and then you got to think about what your lead generation machine should look like. What are you trying to focus on? Like, what does your inbound inquiry looks like? Like, you can only make so many phone calls a day. The better call is somebody calling you for advisory or insight, right? Then understanding how to build those investor leads, whether it's, and again, there's ways of looking at it, whether it's your website, your blogs. I put out probably anywhere between 6 to 8 blogs a week, along with polls that be, people where they can vote on different type of polls. We do a lot of direct email blasting. We have about a 40% open rate on our email blasting consistently every day, putting out a different subject matter, a different event. And then obviously, does it make sense to buy data, very specific data to what you're doing, by zip code or by county? And you got to look at what that looks like. Are you buying out-of-state landlord leads? Are you buying foreclosure leads? I mean, like for real estate agents, does it make sense to keep calling expireds? There has to be something more creative for you to get in front of more business, right? By providing tips of the trade, insight, and doing some light boosting and seeing where things work, it's not all about Facebook again. You could do some boost ads on LinkedIn or Instagram. I mean, I think I've increased my Instagram now to almost 4,000 followers. And that's been just hyper focusing on that with my Google team that's doing a lot of marketing, whether it's for my blog articles or whether it's for our events. I'm building trust with the content, right? Breaking down deals, put examples together, behind the scene type of walkthroughs and team meetings, right? Reviews and testimonials are still important. Monetizing beyond deals. Once you build your audience, then monetizing in multiple ways, offering online courses or coaching for beginner investors, affiliate links, software, CRMs, tools, real estate investing mastermind or membership groups, holding your own meetup. I'm more than happy to assist anyone here listening in. If I need to fly in, even, let's put together a meetup group for you and commit to it. And you get 10, 15, 20 people, get 30 people at a room. Look like the leader, provide leadership, create opportunities, provide speaker opportunities, providing YouTube content, forming strategic partnerships, local bird dogs or wholesalers, real estate agents and brokers, contractors for flips. Stop by a couple construction sites and say hello. Talk to some lenders, hard money, direct private lending, or regulated lenders, property managers. When's the last time you sat down with a property manager in your market? And then tracking the KPIs like a boss, right? You got to look at see what your conversion is. Somebody actually asked me, "Hey Joe, you do these events. What do you think your conversion rate in when you present at one of these events?" And I'm like, somewhere between 20 and 25%. Like I already have 2 or 3 emails from yesterday alone from my presentation. Now all the worksheets are going out through the leader, and I probably will see an additional X amount of lead inbound probably Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then we'll see how we convert those, right? And then there's some ideas, but hiring a virtual assistant, whether doing virtual texting, virtual calls for you on your behalf, calendar, having somebody calling on your behalf, like you're working, making shit happen, excuse my French, but maybe it makes sense to have somebody making phone calls for you to set up appointments to talk to people. What is wrong with that? Have an appointment center. Have them work 4 hours a day and making phone calls for you. Here's a list of 200 people. Call them and see if they'd like me to call them and when. Consider buying lists. I'm looking at some real estate agent lists right now for New Jersey, PA, Delaware, Connecticut, New York. Why? Is because we're having events in those markets. I want to invite more agents to investor-friendly events. If they're not busy, they're potentially going to come out and talk about opportunity. So I want to talk about one other thing before you open it up to our moderators. And this is something that I think all of us have to deal with. Social media bragging and ego posts, not to do as a real estate professional. And I will be posting an article on this today, as well as a poll to vote on which one is the most annoying one to one. There's definitely a fine line between showcasing success and turning people off with look at me energy. And I'm sure we all deal with this, right? Real estate ego post to avoid. The $1 Million Club post. I just closed a $1.2 million deal. Top producer, luxury agent. Nobody cares. Once in a while is fine, but weekly victory laps can feel like a showing off more than serving clients. Photos holding giant commission checks. Probably one of the most annoying thing I ever see. We're talking about how much money you made on a sale. Or clients don't want to feel like they were just your paycheck. Flexing with clients' homes. Another huge win for my buyers. Next to their new front door. Okay, keep the spotlight on the clients, not yourself. Posting from luxury cars or jets. I just landed in Miami, but deals don't stop. Hustle. Focus on value, not vibes. Flashy lifestyle. Posts can alienate your everyday clientele. Nobody works harder than me energy. While others are sleeping, I'm showing homes. The kind of grind talk comes off more insecure than inspiring. So I think this is the only place where I let people know where I'm going to be during the week. I don't post where I am during the week. I don't take pictures from where I'm at. I don't want people to be distracted. I don't want to look too busy for someone to feel like they can't call me. I never want them to have that vibe. They could text me, hey, do you have a minute to call me? Sure. Boom. And then overuse of blessed or boss baby or boss man, like stuff like that, not really cool. Fake scarcity or manufactured urgency. Only one spot left to work with me this month. I know we all know somebody like that. Cryptic, big things coming post. Huge announcement soon with no follow-up. If it's not ready, wait. Otherwise, it's just an ego tease. Posting every time you show a house. 10 showings today. Who's next? Repetitive grind posts can dilute your brand. Save stories for meaningful moments. Or name dropping or tagging people in open houses. I don't tag anybody but myself anymore. Okay, I learned that not everybody wants to be tagged, especially if they're not involved with the transaction. I get a kick out when people have never done business with me, but because I have 5,000 people on my Facebook profile, they think it's okay to tag me because it's going to get in front of my audience. I'm going to remove you and I'm going to report you. How does that make you feel? Dave, good morning and welcome. Brief overview who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion this morning. Build a thriving online real estate investor business. Mr. Dave Injami, going once. There you go.
Good morning.
Good morning. Happy Easter.
Yes, happy Easter. Happy Easter. So, Joe, thanks for the intro. So, to everybody on the call, I could share something that I did a couple of years ago that worked for me. Now, I'm coming from a little bit of a different perspective. I'm coming from the perspective of a vendor, and I know most of you on here are real estate investors, but I'll share it anyway. So, what I did was I would post every time I was with a client. So, no matter what I was doing with that client, I always tried to be a connector. So if I was at lunch with a client or at a closing, I would typically take a picture and then I would post it. And there was no bragging or anything like that. I would just simply post a picture. And mostly this was on Facebook. And I would tag the person that I was in the picture with and let everybody know who they were. So I was sort of highlighting the client. And I would do that every day. And sometimes I would have 3, 4, 5 meetings in a day, or sprinkle in some closings in there because I handle title insurance too, and I do the closings. And a lot of people would start reaching out to me, and they would say, "Wow, you're everywhere. You know everybody," or "I want to meet that agent," or "I want to meet that loan officer." And it was just consistency. So I would say the key to social media to me was consistency. So if you and like Joe said, I would stay away from the showing off and the bragging. There, just a side note on that, it reminded me. There's a guy in our community. He's a real estate agent, and he had made a fortune from something else before he was an agent. And every post that he was doing, I unfollowed him, but every post he was doing was he's buying a new McLaren, or he's at the watch store buying a new Rolex. And people in our community were just so turned off by it. It became a punchline. So most definitely I would not do anything like that. I would just find out what you want your niche to be, and what you want to project out to people, and just be consistent with it. So that's my advice on the social media.
Yeah, I mean, Dave, we have a lot of interesting people that we're connected with through social media channels, and I just shake my head sometimes. I mean, the great question here is like, what is the consistency strategy of a real estate professional? And I think that separates the top producing real estate professionals don't have time to brag. They're much more quieter. They're consistent in providing insight or listings or updates. They're not taking modelistic pictures of themselves everywhere they go. I mean, for a lot of people, that's really annoying, right? So, like, some of the core pillars of consistency strategy, and I'd love to get your take on this because you're kind of a three channel real estate professional. You offer title, property casualty, and now, non-QM lending. The consistent branding, the content scheduling and online presence, the follow-up skills, the follow-up systems. I know you're a one-on-one guy, but you're starting to realize you need to hit more people in a day, right? Networking and community involvement. You're part of your community. You're part of actually the Hamilton Community Group, right? And then you have individual subgroup meetings. You just had one Wednesday, and it was 20 plus people there, right?
Yes, correct.
And then you're trying to provide education and self-development. You're into personal training and taking care of your health, and hopefully that reflects back to others. What else do you feel that you're out there, you're trying to expand your market a little bit, in different ways? What do you feel like you got to do over the next 90 days as a real estate professional to separate yourself from anyone else? And not that you're in competition with anybody, but what are you going to separate yourself to look at yourself in the mirror and say, hey, I did this differently, and it's provided results online?
Well, for those of you that can hear me on the call, online, I know what to do and who to get to implement it, much like Joe, hiring teams of social media people. I just need to do it. The reason, just a little quick background, I was very present on Facebook, very present to the point where, people were calling me after seeing my consistency in the post, and then I got hacked. So I got hacked to the point where whoever had hacked me was sending out very disturbing things to people. And so I shut everything down and I had to relaunch my pages. I went from like 4,000 plus followers to 0 overnight on both Instagram and Facebook. So I am in the process of actually starting almost from scratch. But I know, what needs to be done. There's many social media and marketing companies out there that can assist anybody on this call with getting to the point where Joe is.
Thank you, Dave. I really appreciate that follow-up on that. It's tough, I mean, it's every day. We're doing there's 3 posts going out every day. The first thing in the morning is always motivational, inspirational. And then the next one is hopefully some form of educational. And then there's more of an insight to an event or upcoming opportunity. And maybe 1 or 2 other follow-ups. We probably are averaging like 3 posts a day to 4 posts a day, but they're good stuff. They're worth the read. So I'm watching the viewership. I'm watching the interaction. I do think I'm seeing more activity with posting polls. Like when you put a question out there and you give somebody options, people like to provide their thoughts to that, and I think that's a social media capture, and that hopefully provides some additional branding to you as a source to those type of questions. And I'm seeing a lot more activity on LinkedIn because of that. And then with our Google team, what they're doing with Instagram for me is chopping up my blogs and posting them on a consistent manner on there as well, and tagging different, Google words that are important that lead back to me or lead back to, someone in my inbound traffic. I try to recognize people as well when it comes to articles as well. If I'm sharing an article, I try to highlight them, lead them back to them. It's not always about you. But I think that these are important factors to thrive online as a real estate professional. Stephen, good morning. Been a minute. A little bit of background on yourself, who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion this morning, building a thriving online real estate investor business.
Hey, Joe, thanks. Yeah, this is Steve Franco with REI Homepage. I'm a broker, investor, getting into a little more private lending, doing a little more white label with Joe. And really, for me, I'm actually focusing now on rebuilding my online or redesigning it, because one of my focuses is to do more passive things like lending, like helping people with direct lending, private lending, and helping people join my team of wholesalers and agents and so forth, and also some student work. And so it's really important, I think, to create, first of all, is the easy way to be reached. I think that's been one of my challenges because I do a bunch of different things. That's why I'm focusing on homepage as sort of a, come here and everything that you need about me is here. And also really finally giving up and saying, okay, I need to get someone who knows how to do this better, because realizing you can do only so much of it yourself. But if you're going to post at the level, that I hope to, we're like Joe is several times a day, and you're going to do all these other things, you can't do it all yourself and be doing your actual, income job, your work, your business. And the other side of that is setting up, this is what I'm focusing on this week actually, the systems behind the scenes that make sure that every communication is followed up on. Ideally, you're able to do it directly, personally, but at least it's in a system so it can be done, and it makes sure that someone gets back to them. Because it's great to do all this marketing and all this communication, but if people reach out and you're silent, then that doesn't get either one of you anywhere. They're trying to reach you and they're not getting what they want, and you're trying to be doing business with them and you're not, because it's falling off the train somewhere. So keeping the consistency, and for me that means a lot of systems. That means I'm building on my CRM, building up the technology, and finding the team members that can work. And actually, I'm giving Architect a call later this week to try to get started. But yeah, that's my biggest thing, is I'm redesigning my online communication to be more visible. And it's funny, Joe, many of those pitfalls you mentioned are the ones that I'm going to avoid. I don't want to be hey, look at how many deals I did this week, because I can't believe anybody actually cared. Even before you said it, I'm like, yeah, that doesn't help the client. What helps the client is information, showing that you can be a resource.
Well, thank you, Steve, and I appreciate getting back on here on Easter. We're getting so close. I think next week is our 100th episode, if nobody's aware of that, on the podcast. And we've been on Clubhouse for several years, but the podcast itself is hitting 100th episode, I think, next week. Steve brought up a very good word, rebuilding. Rebuilding your real estate online presence is a power move. Whether you're rebranding, starting fresh, or just leveling up, it's a chance to realign your digital footprint with who you really are as an agent or a real estate professional and who you want to attract, right? So I'm going to break down some information for you guys. Okay, clarify your brand identity, define your niche, identify who your client is, choose your voice or vibe. Are you polished and professional, warm, relatable, hustle driven, and ambitious? Audit and clean up your existing accounts. When's the last time you've done a Google search on yourself just to see where you are and what your accounts say? What shows up? Clean up and delete or inactive or outdated profiles. Update your headshots, bios, contact information, branding everywhere, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Google Business, Zillow, etc., etc., etc. It's like a billboard, okay? If you have 152 billboards, somebody's eventually going to take a look at the billboard, right? Create a strong and searchable website. Guys, josephvscarice.com or creativebirdstrategies.com. I have a podcast website. I have a personal website. They all lead back to one another and link back. Be mobile friendly. Be SEO optimized. Fast loading. Easy to contact. Also include about you. Who are you? What is your why? Some testimonials. Maybe some potential listings or IDX integration. Blogging or market updates, lead capturing, set up a consistent social media strategy, picking your platforms, post three times a day, 2 times a day, 1 time a day, something, market updates, behind the scenes, days in the life, client stories, home tips, local spotlights, tips of the trade, leveraging video to build trust. Right now, I'm on video. Everyone else here is on audio. Okay, introducing yourself to new followers and sharing real talk about the market, reigniting your email list, starting with a fresh email newsletter, sharing value, market trends, upcoming listings, tips for buyers, sellers, local events that you're tied into. Ask for reviews and social proof. Reach out to past clients and get new testimonials. Turn reviews into social media posts. Social proof builds instant credibility with future clients. Be real. Show your personality. Mix in personal life a little bit, not too much. Be careful about that. Wins and losses, your journey. People follow you, not just your listings or your deals. Ed, good morning. Thank you for your patience. Brief overview, who you are, what you do, and thoughts to a discussion. Building a thriving online real estate investor business.
Morning, everyone. Happy Easter. Ed Dowling. I'm a licensed referral agent with Remax Classic. And the one thing, Joe always talk about these people on Facebook who are showing off everything. But look at me, what I do. What the consumer wants, either a buyer or seller, they want to know what you can do for them. I don't care what you did for somebody else, how many houses you sold. What do you want to do for me? How are you going to help my situation to get better? That's what I really think people are looking for. That's all I wanted to add.
Ed, I got to ask you. We joke about it all time, and Ed will not tell everybody this in person, but he's like one of my best friends, right, Ed?
One of your only friends, Joe.
So, by saying that, we often have chats about various situations. Do you think people are really paying attention to the legends in their own mind of a lot of the stuff that we see on a day-to-day basis?
I think they get tired of it. They're tired of seeing it because people post way more than 2 or 3 times a day. Once a day is okay. I can handle that. Twice a day. When it's constantly all day long, it's overkill.
The bragging stuff, right?
Yeah.
Posting education or information or insight doesn't bother you. right? Like
Right.
if it's an article that catches your eye, you're going to open it up, right?
Yeah, right, an article or something like that. Yeah, exactly. But um, even showing off, like, I mean, showing off your listings is okay. Like doing a lot of videos, I think that's great. You know what I mean? But it's just all the other stuff of like how much you made, how many sales you had, and you know what I mean. It's just I don't really care about that. If I'm a buyer, if I'm a consumer, I want to know what you're going to do for me.
Yeah, I get
You
it.
know?
I get it. I get it. And it does, it wears you out. Like, I mean, I don't really pay attention to a lot of the social media banter because I got to stay focused on what I'm doing because that's what I do every day. You know, I go to the gym, I get back at 8 a.m. I'm live and kicking. Things got to be rocking and rolling for me. And I think you got to really sketch out your business blueprint or like creating an automated funnel for for your strategy, right? And I think a lot of people think by bragging that creates a strategy. I do get a kick out of it sometimes, but I appreciate your insight this morning.
But going back to with the surveys and stuff like that, I think that's a great idea. Also, people get to comment on what they think, their thoughts. You know what I mean?
I had one poll that I put out. I can't remember which one it was, but in the last couple months, it got over 8,000 impressions within 1 week. It was a poll asking a question, gave a couple options to choose from, and I got over 8,000 impressions. That's a lot of views on LinkedIn. That's considered like viral. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with putting one out a week, two out a week. I set up all my posts and I get everything out, and I let my social media team do a lot of the groundwork now. It makes my life a lot easier. It makes me look very available out there in a consistent manner. And it took a while because I'll tell you, I didn't know where I was online. Now I know every website I'm on. I did a full Google audit on who I am, what I do, and is my information up to date? Are my pictures up to date? Are the events that I'm attending making sense? Am I fishing in the right lakes for fish? So, Ed, thank you for coming on this morning and happy Easter.
Yep. Thanks, Sean.
A few things additionally you need to know is like, what is your primary strategy? You got to think about that, right? Are you focused locally or virtually? Like, are you? I mean, if you're a real estate agent, you're focusing very specific. If you're a real estate investor, you actually your net might be a little wider. Do you have a website? Do you have a social media presence? What is your CRM that's in place to get your information out? What is your current biggest challenge? What type of leads are you trying to get like what type of motivated leads you're trying to create? What type of buyer inquiries are you trying to look at? What are the funding deals that you're looking for yourself or your client base? Like, is it building the online brand or automating follow-up or something else? You got to put together a funnel layout and tools to use and lead generation planning and content ideas for branding and monetize and scale accordingly. Don't get yourself overwhelmed and try to thrive, Deborah, good morning and welcome. It's been a minute. Brief overview who you are, what you do, and thoughts to a discussion this morning, building a thriving online real estate investor business.
Thank you, and happy 100th show. Oh my gosh, it's been a long time, and you've stayed with it, stayed the course. And every Sunday I think, oh, Joe's on, I got to get on because you're such a wealth of information. So thank you, Joe, for having this room and being consistent and just doing what you love to do. And I think you have a teacher and something in you that or sharing mentality, something. But thank you, Joe. And my share was is stories. I think people love stories. So anytime you can tell a story is really, really good. So this happened, and right, Joe, take them through that story. And I think people relate to that better and I think people love attention. I think that's why they post themselves all the time. They want that, oh my gosh, you're so good or whatever, some people just have to have that. And I'm not one of those, but I know exactly, the post you're trying to talk about. Also, Google my business. I do have Derek, who is a good Facebook friend of mine. He does really, really good on setting up your Google My Business page. He's done it for pretty much all of us on Real Estate All Day. So if anybody needs his contact information, let me know. He's really, really good. So, yeah, I'm trying to think of what else, Joe. I think the tariffs are working. We just have to hang in there. I think it's going to be awesome. And yeah, that's about it. But everything he said else was spot on. So thank you, Joe.
Thanks, Deborah. And I'll be honest with you, I do enjoy the Sunday mornings. I do look forward to these discussions, and I feel like I walk away with something every podcast in a good light. So we'll keep it going. We'll see where. I mean, we got rid of the Saturday of podcast. It was just too much for us. Plus, with my schedule, it just almost seemed impossible sometimes. And I want to feel fresh with the subject matter. Like, well, we have subjects now put out till I think the end of September scheduled. So they're strong, they're concise, but they're different. Every discussion is going to go a different direction, and I think a lot of it will come. A lot of the professionals that tune in will get more out of it because it's touching a different part of the brainwave, And I think social media still scares a lot of people. I think the whole bragging mentality is over, right? All that is just out the window. You need to be clear. You need to the whole sellathon environment is done. You could see how it's impacting a lot of these real estate investor groups. The investor groups, people just want to talk and network and get to know people and build up their team of experts. That's what they're concerned with. That's what their focus is. They want to build up a armada of team and strategy think tank to be a better real estate professional. Yolanda, good morning and welcome. Thank you for your time this morning. Brief overview who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion this morning, building a thriving online real estate investor business.
Hi, Joe. Thank you. I was picking up some carry out and it touched the raise hand button. Immediately, you invited me up, and I said, fine, I'll come up because sometimes, signals can be wonky with driving. But I'm Yolanda Sells, Michigan, also known as Yolanda Smith Charles of the beautiful, very sunny, no clouds in the sky state of Michigan right now, where it's a balmy 48 degrees. Oh, I see the homie image just pulled up. And I am a licensed real estate agent. I have an amazing brokerage that takes a lot of the guesswork out of my social media life. I'm coming from a social media background where I'm very bullish when it comes to social. So I have no trouble posting, and I'm probably more like a post and ghost type of person, but I don't have any trouble posting. What I do appreciate, though, is the automation. I appreciate that the broker that I have right now offers something called Social Bay, which stands for Back at You, and am able to automate that, so I don't have to worry about it. So it looks like that I'm very engaged on my various social media channels. Of course, I will go in and post custom reels, things that I'm actually doing in the community. Joseph, you may recall that I'm also an elected official. I'm a county commissioner. And so, my weeks are full of trying to figure out what hat I'm wearing. And so I appreciate one of the speakers who is doing title and doing casualty and loss and casualty and all of those kinds of things. It's very inspiring. But I think the main thing is that people do see us, and they don't always let us know until we're face to face. So I get people all the time. They're like, "Oh, I see your posts all the time," and I'm thinking to myself, "You don't like it? You're not sharing it. There's no commenting." But it is okay because it lets me know that they are watching. It's almost like a voyeur mentality where they don't want to engage. They just want to know what's going on with you. And so I appreciate the reminder that everything doesn't need to be your $1 million listing or your $1 million sold with the big checks and all that kind of stuff. I know it's off-putting to me. And I do understand the concept of the posting 3 times a day. And so again, like Deborah said, stories are super powerful. I love just grabbing stories and sharing content with stories. And then finally, it's just also this kind of environment. This is still online here in Clubhouse. It's just that we're not showing our faces. And so I was charged by a mentor that really anytime someone offers you to come up and speak, that's a great opportunity to share who you are, what you know, what you do, like Joe says all the time. So I did drop a link in the chat. Shout out to Joe for introducing me to Alignable. So if you're not familiar with Alignable, please, right now, go find it. Set up your account and start building your business in terms of your super local, hyper local networking. It's been a life changer and a game changer almost. So I really appreciate that. And so if you're on Alignable, let's be sure to connect. And if you're on other social media channels as well. Thank you, Joe. Floor is yours.
Thank you, Yolanda. And Yolanda, when are you going to have a meetup group for real estate investors out in your market?
Great question. There are some things happening currently, but I'm making it happen. I'm going to get with Emmett, and we're going to make some things happen.
Good to hear that. Automation is going to save a lot of time. It's going to make money while you sleep. It's going to help you scale without burning out. Whether you're an agent or an investor or both, smart systems can streamline everything from lead generation to deal follow-up. CRM with automated follow-ups, website and lead capture tools are going to be very important. Facebook and Instagram ad funnels, appointment setting calendars. Not a big fan of that. A lot of people kind of like the Calendly. I like it and I don't like it. I think there's good and bad to it because you could miss some things there. Text strip campaigns, which we're big on. Voicemail drops, I'm thinking about. I think there might be an opportunity there. There's some tools out there that you can look at. Definitely property and deal automation for investors is coming around, like PropStream and Deal Machine or Privy. Obviously, offer automation, DocuSign, Dotloop, or PandaDoc is big for the real estate agents, of course. Then there's bookkeeping and expense tracking, like QuickBooks or REI Hub. Then you got cloud storage like Google Drive, Dropbox, or Notion. Start small, right? Automate one process at a time. So the most important thing I needed was my social media balance. I didn't feel like I was balanced. My presence wasn't fully balanced. I was everywhere, but I wasn't everywhere. And I was working harder in person because of my social media lack of. And when I made the decision to invest in myself on the website, on the podcast, on social media strategy with the Google team, I'm seeing the difference. Am I seeing the full difference just yet? No, because we're still building tracks out. You got to look at this and listen. As an agent, I don't think we're going to need all the realtor associations within the next 5 years. I don't think we're going to need all these MLSs within the next 5 years. It's going to go through a massive consolidation, and there's also going to be an attrition for the real estate agent as well. And they're going to pivot and chameleon themselves into other opportunities within the industry. So that's some thoughts to where this is all going with social media automation. Cindy, good morning and welcome. Brief overview of who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion this morning, building a thriving online real estate investor business.
Hey, good morning, Joe. Good morning, everyone. I'm Cindy Ariona. I'm over in Salt Lake City, Utah, also known as hashtag Cindy Sells Salt Lake. You can find me anywhere with that hashtag. I branded it. So that's one of the first things I branded. I work in Salt Lake and Park City Market, and I own a brokerage in Istanbul, Turkey that I've had 23 years. So I've got a team on the ground there. It's where the bulk of my business has been since rates shot up to 8 in July of 2022. But social media, well, I'm certainly no expert to speak on this matter. I did real well in 2022, and I generated and closed 2.8 million off my Instagram page. And then 2023, crickets. Not a freaking thing. Okay. And so far, okay. So I had a moment, but they were big fish. And that was really great. Now, I'm currently going through the book Storybook Brand 2.0, which is a phenomenal book, Building a Story Brand 2.0 by Donald Miller. And what he speaks about right out of the gate there that caught my attention, Joe, is this. And let's see, was it one moment? It was either Ed or Dave spoke about this. What he says right out of the gate in this book, and I'm so just gripped to this book, I love it. Between this book and Unreasonable Hospitality, we will learn much about what people want to see on social media. Having said that, they don't want to hear your story. They don't want to read your freaking bio. They could give a crap. They want to see, and the big pretty website, the real beautiful website, which I built and am really proud of and have incredible landing pages that are landing leads. He says, none of that matters. What matters is the words that are on that page. And that brings me to Phil Jones, Exactly What to Say, another good book to read. So in landing this, Joe, I'd say what I'm aiming to do here is try to have all my posts and my website and my messaging be so the client, the buyer or sellers or investors can see themselves in the story. So someone spoke about, Deborah spoke so good, and she's really good at doing this, telling stories about each individual deal, because that's where often our clients will see themselves and then they connect and then they relate, because half of the connection is the identification. Oh, I felt like that. I wanted that. I did that. That sort of a thing. Okay. So I feel like I'm going on a long time, Joe. I'll end it there for now. And thanks again. It's hashtag Cindy Sells Salt Lake. Good to be with you.
Cindy, thank you as always. And I just did a quick Google search. Your social media presence is excellent. I'm looking at it as we speak. Your contact information is there. Your website information is there. All your sites that are coming up, you came up under Salt Lake. Like when I Google, just put your name in, all your Salt Lake City real estate agent came up with it. Boom. Took me right to your Google business. Your updates are all there with products. I don't see. You got your service, your products in there, but are you posting to your Google business? Is the only thing I'm constructively looking at. Let me go into videos. Hold on.
When you're doing that, Joe, thank you very much. And no.
Okay,
the answer is I'm not, and I need to.
Yeah, you need to post to the Google business profile itself. I think your videos, they're a little mix of things. I think you need some more tips of the trade stuff. Focusing in on your market, whether it's Salt Lake or Turkey, doesn't matter. See here. Let me see if there's a short video. Oh, here you go. Some pictures here. Going through here, some news. Okay, so maybe you could do some PR news, like articles for yourself. Maybe that might create some buzz and you could share that out, because like if I go into the news tab, nothing really comes up. Something from Salt Lake comes up and a couple of things, but nothing comes back to you. So you might want to looking into like a news update. And I think PR news is a good option to do, and put an article to maybe some stats quarterly with Salt Lake market. But your pictures are great. They're stunning. And then the Google, boom. I mean, if somebody says they can't get in touch with you, they're out of their minds. And you got great Google reviews. You got Zillow reviews linked back here, which is excellent. Yeah, this is a good.
I stopped the Zillow review in 2017 when I realized that they were doing, and I never went on there again. Joe, on my business, I have 3 Instagram pages: personal, Salt Lake real estate, Istanbul real estate. Now, my Salt Lake real estate, I sprinkle very little personal in there, and my I'm surprised I'm not getting more engagement on my page, because I'm putting great articles on taxes and how to do the LLC and house hacking, and I mean on and on. My business Salt Lake page has all those articles. Joe, thank you. I'm going to get them onto Google My Business today. Thanks, Joe.
My pleasure. Your LinkedIn looks great too. It's very clean. Yep, everything's good there. I love that back screen of Salt Lake. That's beautiful. Yeah. So I mean, I think Cindy really has much more than what she thinks she has. But I mean, there's certain things that I would look at maybe just to kind of enhance a little bit. But they all look good. But yeah, if anybody would like to a Google audit, I'm more than happy to sit down with anybody to do a one-on-one to see if something doesn't make sense or doesn't catch my eye. But I mean, she's spot on. It might just be the market. There might be just a lull. Maybe you want to pivot a little bit, maybe provide some more insight on investor opportunities in Salt Lake and that surrounding area. Maybe home ownership is flattening a little stagnant. So that might be an opportunity. Small balance multifamily. Maybe talk about some opportunities as an investor out of state, offering management or maintenance services to your market, creating that type of inbound lead traffic. That might be an idea. But that's just a selfish idea on my side since I work only in the real estate investment space. But that might be something I'd just spin something a little different. But anybody would love to have a one-on-one with that, and I take a quick look at and see what it all does. It make sense for everybody? Let me know. I think this discussion really went well. I'd love to get Dave's final thoughts to building a thriving online real estate investor business. Dave, are you there? Yep.
Yeah. So the final thoughts are, just to recap my main point earlier, just be consistent. I would pick something that where you show value to the people you want to attract. No bragging, not a lot of personal stuff, just something that you're showing the value. In my example earlier, the value was who I network with. So people were reaching out to me to get you connected to those people. So figure that out. Be consistent at least once a day, I'd say. And also, nobody really mentioned this, but I don't know if you really would count this social media, but also try to utilize direct marketing email platforms like Constant Contact. That's very effective. And that's it. I'll leave it at that.
Dave, thank you. What the general consensus here is being consistent, providing insight, giving back as well, being part of your community, offering meetup groups, offering workshops, extending opportunities of education and insight and strategy discussions, offering polls to vote on and having if somebody communicates on one of your polls that you're putting out on LinkedIn, you better be out there responding back, at least recognizing and thanking them for giving their insight or their input. I think all of it is very important. It's sometimes time consuming. I get it, but it will pay off in the short and the long term. I want to thank my sponsors this morning. As always, I would like to thank Mr. Gerald Perkins of Perkatech, friend, colleague, and associate in the social media space, providing social media insight and strategy for real estate professionals nationwide. I'd like to thank Lenmark Capital, where I'm a senior loan analyst, providing nationwide asset-based lending, non-QM lending options, as well as CE accreditation for real estate agents on asset-based lending now in 40 plus states. So if anybody has interest in having a CE course on asset-based lending in their state, we could schedule it out. Coming up months, I'll be in Connecticut and Rhode Island and New York and New Jersey and Virginia and Delaware. I mean, name a state, I'm going to it and getting approved for it and speaking on asset-based lending. I'd like to thank MB Capital Solutions, where I'm a referral partner in the unsecured business line of credit space, providing unsecured business lines of credit for real estate professionals and agents as well, and businesses. I'd like to thank TCS Property Management, where I'm a licensed real estate agent, providing property management services along the East Coast and various markets. And I'd like to thank Elite Dealmakers, where I'm hosting events on their behalf in New Jersey and Pennsylvania, providing education, networking, and strategy on a month-to-month basis. Come to my website, josephvscarice.com, or download one of our many podcasts hitting 100th episode next Sunday morning with the Creative Birth Strategies podcast with Yordell Perkins, my co-founder and colleague. So everybody have a blessed Easter Sunday morning and day with your family, friends. Enjoy the beautiful weather outside and take care of yourself. And then we're going to somebody unmuted by accident, so we're going to just fix that real quick. And my quote this morning: hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Be well, take care, and I will see you next Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll be ending the room in the next 30 seconds, and thank you.
Hey, thanks, Joe. That was a great session.
Yep. Thank you, Joe. See you later.